Go. Oh, go.
Hello, hello, hello. Welcome. I am Sylvia Hayes, and you are watching Good News at Prime Time. So many things have been happening lately, and as you know, the election is over with pretty much. We still got a few recounts to do, but things are going on, and we're just waiting for the president to concede so we can get the moving. And there are a lot of other things that need to be happening. So right now, let's listen to something that John has to say. Is it rolling?
You're on the air.
Oh, okay.
Been on there for the last 3 minutes.
Oh, okay.
You're not talking.
I'm not.
No, you're not saying anything.
Oh, okay. Did you have a well for me tonight? We have my co-host, I guess you could say, my guest, Mr. John Covington. Hey, John, how you doing?
I'm doing fine. So how you doing?
I'm doing okay. Did we have that roll in?
Uh,
We gotta wait on it for a minute.
no, we got to go ahead. We on there.
Oh, okay, okay, yeah. So what they were saying, what Trump was saying, that after November 4th, you wouldn't hear anything else about COVID. But here it is, November what, 17th, and we're still hearing about it. Is he doing anything about it right now?
Go ahead. Keep talking.
Yeah. So that is the question. What is Trump doing now that the election is over? Is he doing anything to try to curb this thing? And what's killing me is some people are still fighting against it, and they tried to kidnap the Michigan governor, because she's trying to protect her people. That's not cool at all. We got some crazy people out there, y'all. To be honest, some people are just not thinking right. They want to what side with Trump and just go against everything to kill people. I guess basically. So I don't know what is your opinion on that one, John? Do you have any opinions on what Trump is doing and what these people are doing to not make this virus go away?
Yeah, I think you're right in the sense that you know what Trump is like a big snake. He's spitting all this venom and creating all this decision, all this dissension. Like he's, let's be realistic. Doing this tenacious in office, he separated the country. It's like, listen, we in the Civil War. The reason I said it because remember the Civil War was about the blue coast and the gray coast, the Confederate and the Union, and in 1861, there was a big debate as to whether or not Lincoln should free the slaves. And when Lincoln freed the slaves, it created a friction. And the southern states created their own state. They called it the United Confederate States of America. And the blue states, well, actually, the Union still had the United States of America. But the Confederate broke with the Union and created their own statehood. And they created their own money. But the problem was their whole gross national product was based on slavery, cotton, slavery, and other products. And so when Lincoln freed the slave, it created a vast reduction in production, and it would people on most plantation owners were losing all of their products, and their sons were going off to the army. The slaves were running away, and so they themselves were going off to fight the Union, and so they were losing their southern states, and so in 1865 Robert E. Lee, he capitulated and surrendered to Ulysses S. Grant in Virginia in 1865. He surrendered. But what happened after that was that you still had people who were still believing in the Confederate ideas, in the Confederate philosophy. So you had what they call small groups, a band of Confederate soldiers still running around to maintain the Confederate ideology, their beliefs, their ideas, and the things that they were fighting for. So even though Robert E. Lee had surrendered, around the country in the southern state, you still had bands of individuals still fighting, what have you. And so, like that, like now, the United States, as we see it now, the people of the state have voted and they fired Trump. So now Trump still has little bands of people running around the country creating, talking about it's a war. If Trump didn't win, it's gonna be a war. They have these militias all in every state, and most of the states around the country. You have militias, little more small. These white nationalists, the Good Boys, Proud Boys, and all these other organizations band together, trying to create a small civil war in the same sense as it was in 1860 to 1865. But the difference is that when Ulysses Grant capitulated and surrendered, the same thing was supposed to. He's supposed to tell his people to stand down. He was supposed to give a concession speech, but Robert E. Lee did not give a concession speech to his people to stand down and drop your arm. We surrendered. We now are a part of the United States, because the whole purpose of the separation was to try to maintain slavery and the gross national product. The Union was trying to unite the states because in case of a outside force decided to attack the country, they would have a United States. And so with Robert E. Lee surrendering, but he didn't give what is called a concession speech, and because he didn't give a concession speech, and if he had given he could not give a concession speech in the same way that we could do it today, but he could have gave a concession speech, and it would have spread across the country via telegram. All his people would have saw it via telegram, and so they would either stand down or they would drop their arm. Because he did not give a concession speech, then they continued, little small bands of rebels continued to fight around the country. As today, if we look at Trump has not given a concession speech. Trump is still adding fuel to the fire. As a matter of fact, I was watching this past Saturday when there was supposed to be a million mega march in Washington, according to NBC, NBC, CBS, ABC, and even Fox. Said there were roughly about 10,000 people there, and they were saying to themselves, everyone was saying, then Trump had a caravan. He drove through the crowd, giving thumbs up, way to go, way to go, and they was waving them. It was like, if I read about the Civil War. Now I understand how it took place. It was like watching a re-emergence of the Civil War, because they were falling all over his car. The Secret Service guy was running beside him. They were pushing people away, right? But he just riding through saying like thumbs up, as if this is not over. We at war. So I'm thinking like, what the hell is this guy doing? He's still adding fuel to he's still throwing wood on this fire. He have lost the race. He have lost the election. He have not only lost the electoral vote, but he lost the popular vote as well. And as a matter of fact, he lost in Georgia, the place where he thought he had won. But Biden took that. In every state that he thought that he had won, Biden took those states and turned them blue. So now you have about 10,000 people in Washington, D.C., in the plaza in Washington, D.C., talking about, the election was staged, it was crooked. And Donald Trump riding through this group of people, going to his golf course, giving them the right on, keep going, keep doing, And so the question becomes, is he really, and you had, they call these guys, they had these guys calling themselves militia, walking around with guns, and they had suggested to these guys that do not come to Washington and bring in guns, because they could, least little thing could set the whole, it could explode in a matter of seconds. And so they was there, and I'm watching. I'm watching this. I'm like, I'm watching. I'm like, but the part that got me was they didn't march in their particular states. Okay, they called airplane. They drove there. They called airplane. Everybody. So I'm like, wow. But the difference between that march, that particular march, and the one that the people did with Biden was a totally different march. It was totally different. The people was there when it was announced that particular that Saturday before the Mega Million March that Biden was now the elected president of the United States.
Hmm.
People just started gathering. It wasn't no tweet. There wasn't no call out to people. It was just, people just started gathering, bringing their signs to the plaza around the country. Okay, people started shouting as if a breath of relief had came over them. Like, glad that's over with, man. Gee, that was seemed like 50 years. I'm glad this is over with, man. So people were rejoicing. And as a matter of fact, they go a step further. They showed various countries, shooting fireworks off. People in the streets shouting, "Yeah, we glad." Around the world, people was, in various countries around the world with the American allies. They were saying, "Thank you, woo, thank you." That was like rough. That was 4 rough years. So that was all. That was peaceful. It was like a breath of fresh air. People were breathing. But when the following Saturday, when the mega meeting came, it was about 10,000 people according to the news media. It was totally different. It was like venomous. It was hatred. It was, my God. And then the weird part about it is that they were saying that if the election was fair, we'll accept it. If the election was fair, we accept it. But we know it wasn't fair. Then the guy said, "How do you know it wasn't fair?" Because Donald Trump said it wasn't fair. So so the news media came back to the desk. He looked at his party and said, "Well, what do you think? You think the concession speech is more important now than it has ever been?" And I said, and I'm thinking to myself, I was like, and she said, "Yeah, without him giving that concession speech, this is gonna prolong." Then the question becomes, why is it he's not giving the concession speech? What is he up to? And I think this is my personal opinion, okay?
Uh-huh.
I don't think he's prolonging it. He's holding off on giving the concession speech because he think the election was rigged and he lost because it was rigged. I think he know he lost because yesterday he came out and said that Joe Biden won, but it was rigged. He acknowledged that Joe Biden had won the election, that he was the president, but he then came and said it was rigged. Another thing I think that he's pissed off, and he won't allow Joe Biden to make the transition. He have this woman called Emma, who's in charge of the GSD, the General Service Department, where every president have to make that transition through. She's a diehard Trump fan, and so she won't allow them to come in and make the transition. That's an X number of dollars that the federal government allocate for the transition from one president to the next president, and because that the country could be at a impasse. The incoming president had to be briefed on all the security information, the everything, as to what's happening to the country. The country like a body, and so that person had to give them the whole outline in terms of what the country's going through at the time. And I think that it's interesting to see how they are refusing to give him that information because they said that I don't know I think that they're hold on for a minute. Go ahead. So what do you think?
Uh, I don't know. I think he's buying time.
Oh yeah,
That's what I'm thinking. He's trying to buy time because he need to get all his ducks in together. I'm
yeah,
about to say get him in a row, so he won't be in such hot water when he leaves there.
$400 million worth. Huh?
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking. And also, it's like, okay, the part that where he lost was rigged. What about the part where he won? I'm thinking maybe that was rigged.
Well, see, let's add to that. Okay, let's say that for example, the Democrats did rig it. Okay, if they would have rigged it, Mitch Connolly would not be in office. Okay,
Right.
and Lindsey Graham would not be in office. Okay,
Right.
all those Republicans who won their office back, they would not be there if it was rigged. Because one of the three, Miss Connolly position there is the most one of the most important positions in terms of him being there. He's a pain in the butt, so they wouldn't have he wouldn't have got involved. He wouldn't have been there if it was rigged. So I think that I'm like you. I think Trump is doing this for he has a purpose behind this. He's what I call a well, they've already called him a moron. They call him a moron.
Yeah.
They call him stupid. They call him everything but a child of God. And so
Yeah.
I'm thinking that like he, they call it the PAC, the Political Action Committee. Well, he has set up fund. He has set up what they call a PAC donation fund. And so I think that he has 70 million followers, supporters. Okay.
Uh-huh.
Now with this pack he set up, he's asking them if you send something like let me see, it said it's something like if you send $8,000, then that money goes to the Republican fund, and if the other money goes to him, back where it said some of the money goes to help fight the lawsuits. Some of the money goes to the Republican convention, the Republican headquarters. Some goes to help him transition. So
So
I'm
why
saying,
would these people help him to fight being a criminal?
well,
Trump's supposed to be of law and order. He committed crimes, and these people know he did. Now they're gonna help pay for his legal fees to beat it. So that's incomprehensive to me.
okay, we got your book. We got hello, Jimmy.
Hey, I don't know how to work this thing. I tried my best to get on it. I can't even get on.
Okay, that's okay, Jimmy. We understand. We're on the air right now, so let me call you when we get off the air.
Okay.
But don't worry about it, Jimmy. Don't even worry about trying to get it come on, because if you can't work it, and it's gonna be difficult for us to try to give you. We're on the air right now. Let me get you back, baby. Okay,
Okay.
go ahead.
Yeah, like it's incomprehensive for me to understand why people would want to pay for his legal fees for him to fight his crimes.
You know what I call
He's
that?
supposed to be of law and order. He committed all these crimes. Now he's trying to get money to fight it.
You know what I call that?
What?
The Kool-Aid effect. You know the Kool-Aid effect. The Kool-Aid effect. The Kool-Aid effect. You remember Reverend Jim Jones?
Yeah.
Remember he took 300 some people from America to Guyana,
Yeah.
and when he heard that the United States Congress and the Senate was investigating him, he started having his people to drink Kool-Aid, practicing what they call it a self-inflicted suicide. And so he heard that they were investigating him. They're gonna come in. People, those most of them were seniors. Okay, seniors, and some was young women and young people. There, some was families took their children there, and all their life savings. Okay, they had sold their houses and gave it to him. Everything they didn't have. That's what but they believe, as in what these 70 million people believe what Donald Trump is saying. So he took them to Guyana. And when they got to Guyana, he heard that he was being investigated. He told them the enemy was coming, and so we wasn't going to surrender to the enemy. I don't remember. I researched it once, but I don't remember everything I read about that particular incident. But the most important thing I read was that when this senator was coming there, he had everybody to drink this Kool-Aid, which was cyanide. And when the senator arrived on the scene, they found everybody dead, including the children, dead because this guy told them to drink the Kool-Aid to kill themselves.
And they did it.
They did. So that's why I see Trump. His father, they're drinking the Kool-Aid, And so
Yeah.
they're putting the money up. They're giving him the money. I wouldn't be surprised if he suggested to those people that they need to leave the country, follow him, sell everything, and get the money to him. I wouldn't doubt that they would do it because they truly believe that he is telling the truth. he wouldn't lie to them. You know, and so,
Yeah.
but
Some people just got to have something to believe in. And so they
yeah,
got to be diehard faith, you know.
yeah, true that. You
Yes,
know,
got to.
I think that belief is. Let's talk about belief for a minute. Since I read your book,
Uh-huh.
let's change the subject, okay?
Okay.
Let's take this in a different direction because everyone is talking about Trump don't want to concede. We nobody doesn't want to concede because he's trying to raise a. You got 70 million people, okay? I think if 70 million people gave you $1, that's $70 million. What if they gave you 500? Okay, 500 times 70. You see what I'm saying? Well, that's
Yeah.
$350 million. So what if they gave you $8,000? You know what I'm saying?
And that's a lot of money. He
A
would be
lot of
out of debt.
money.
And
Now,
he can go out of the country and not be punished.
or hey,
Yeah.
or he could pay them guys that $400 million he owed them, right?
Yeah. Oh, he gonna have to pay the money, but New York want him for tax evasion,
Yeah.
you
And
know,
then
and
you got the other guys in those dog shades and those funny looking suits. Coming, hey buddy, you remember that little tab you owe us? That little $400 million. You're not president no more. So we need the interest plus the money.
those sexual assault charges is pending.
Yeah.
He
Oh
still got
man.
that to face too.
Well, here's the thing, right? Here's the thing. When President Nixon had committed those criminal acts by breaking into the Watergate, and they found out he had did that, and they found out that the first thing President Nixon did got rid of his first vice president. I think it was Agnew was his first vice president. I'm not for sure, but he got rid of him by having him charged with a crime, right? So
Mhm.
Agnew was charged with crime with a felony by association. So Agnew went before the federal court, and he had 22 lawyers to research how he could get out of this. They found a 200-year-old clause in the court, right, called no low contender. So he pleaded that, which means no low contender means that I'm not guilty and I'm not innocent. I'm at the mercy of the court. That came out of the 200-year case, out of 200 years ago, when the criminals throw us at the mercy of the court. So he pleaded that, and so what happened was because had brought that into play, every court in the country had to follow that guideline, give a plaintiff an opportunity to take their plea. Anyway, so Nixon got rid of him, and he brought Gerald Ford in and made him vice president. And the scheme was he couldn't pardon himself, okay?
Right.
So he had to have somebody to pardon himself. So he had to rescind himself from being president or retire from being president, and in the process, Gerald Ford could forgive him for all his criminal acts. And in a sense, a pardon for all his criminal acts against the country and his treasonous acts against, what have you. He could walk away scot-free and retire and receive his pension money. And I wonder how much that pension money was. But anyway, so this guy is saying Trump is saying he can pardon himself, but the Constitution
But
says
he
he can't
can't
do
do
it.
that though.
He can't. The Constitution says he can't do it.
Right.
So, but at the same time, should we think about this here? The Constitution also say that when a president goes into the hospital or have to stay in the hospital for at least 5 to 10 to 14 to 15 days,
Uh-huh.
he got to write a letter rescinding his presidential accolades, given to the vice president to become president. So Trump was supposed to do that, but because that letter was there, he didn't want to make Pence the president. He decided he went in the hospital Friday, parade Saturday, came home Sunday, went back to work Monday because he didn't want to drop down and make Pence the president while he's in the hospital. So the question now becomes he can't pardon himself, right? So
Right.
he will have to step down as president, make Pence president for a little time there is, a few days that's left, and then Pence will have to pardon him. Well, here's another problem is that he's robbing all his supporters, right? So the question becomes: are they going to bring him up on charges for soliciting funds without for taking money from his supporters and not applying it to what it's supposed to be applied. And they say he's facing.
Especially those campaign funds. He didn't use all that money for campaigning.
No, I
No,
don't think he
especially,
did.
and he been raising money for 4 years. From the time he got in office until now, he been raising money, and he's still raising money.
Yep, yep.
No, that's not campaign money. And somebody should be looking brighter than that.
Yeah.
It's like ding, ding, ding. Where's the money going? You know?
Yeah, a little bell should go off in your head. Yeah, you're right.
Yeah, yeah, you would think so. And at this time, you know, he should be concentrating on making the best of everything, like getting rid of COVID and making people, you know, well and financial okay, so they won't commit suicide in these next couple of weeks and all of that other stuff. 'Cause that's what Trump should be focusing on, but he's focusing on himself as usual.
Yeah, true that. True that.
That's what he's doing.
And I think you're right too. I think you're right in that sense. Well, hey, let's talk about your book. Let's change the subject for a moment. One last thing though on that subject. Let's talk about Lindsey Graham of South Carolina Senate calling the Georgia State Secretary to have him ask him to suppress some votes. What do you think about that?
Oh, it was Georgia that I thought he was talking about his own state.
No, he called. Well, what happened was Kelly Loeffler and David Perdue called the Secretary of State and asked him. Well, they told him, according to, he had him on phone, right? He said they told him that he wasn't doing his job. He needs to resign. He asked him, what do they think his job was? And they said he's not doing his job. As a Republican, he's not doing his job. And he said, they had him on Fox 5. He said, I told them that I was elected, quote unquote, to the job. And I'm a Republican by political affiliation. But my job required me to follow the law to the T. And that's what I'm going to do. Okay, that was the week before, right? Last week, Lindsey Graham called him, a South Carolina senator, called the Georgia Secretary of State, who's in charge of the voters registration and the voters, the turnout, all that stuff there, asking him, can he suppress the votes? Yep.
See, I think that's what happened why he probably got in office.
Well, see, that's what they're saying. That's what they're saying. They're saying that if Lindsey Graham has done that, then is it possible that the election that he held, he bringing that into question? You know, like a cop. You know how a cop get caught killing somebody?
Yeah.
Or framing somebody for doing something wrong.
Yeah.
Then all of a sudden, they found out that the guy was innocent. Then what come into question? Then everybody he don't arrested, have he framed them too? So everybody he has arrested, they have to look at that. And so that's what I think will happen with Lindsey Graham. The Judiciary Committee going to look at whether or not there was some hanky-panky going on in his election. Did he have the Secretary of South Carolina to suppress votes in his state? If so, then the runner-up to his campaign will become the senator, and he will be brought up on charges. He has to recant his position, and he has to be brought up on charges. So I think God is a funny kind of God, ain't he? You know, when all these crooks thought they think they got away, right? Then they sort of open their mouth. And then here's a guy, South Carolina senator, who's gonna fix his own race, right? Now he opened his mouth about fixing the Georgia election, right? Because the guy that's in charge of the election is a Republican. So he's thinking that the guy that's in charge of the Republican, he's not gonna tell no one else this business, right?
Right.
So he tell the whole world. Everybody is interviewing him now. And so now it brings the question, whether or not Lindsey Graham fix his, has some, did Trump have something to do with Lindsey Graham winning his election? And also Mitch McConnell. He has came into question.
That's what I was wondering. I'm going, okay, because I didn't see Mitch McConnell and Lindsey Graham winning again. I did not see it at all. So it's like, okay, why did they win? How did they win? You know, what happened here? You know, I think something happened to cause them to win. I don't think they won, honestly. And all this fraud stuff that Trump was talking about might be Mitch McConnell and what's his name?
And
some of the other people. Yeah, Lindsey Graham.
Yeah, I know Lindsey Graham. He's in charge of the Judiciary Committee. You know, and Graham is the guy that sits over the hearing of all the people that come before the court, come before the Senate. Whereas Mitch McConnell, he's the man. He's the man. He's the guy down there.
Hmm.
And so, but like Reggie would say, Donald Trump is that guy. If you need something fixed, that's the guy.
Yeah. Yeah, I think it's some hanky panky going on, and I think I'm hoping maybe before the inauguration that they look into all of that to see what's going
You see
on.
there? Oh,
Yeah.
you froze for me. You were looking up like,
Oh, did I?
yeah.
Oh, okay. I was saying I'm hoping before the inauguration they look into it to see if everything is up and up.
I do too. I do too. But anyway, let's talk about your book. We got about 30 more minutes left. Let's talk about your book.
Okay.
Okay, so I read it, and you got some good points in there. Some good
Thank
points in
you.
there.
I have been getting a lot of positive feedback from that book. A lot of
Okay.
it. So I'm excited about it. It's global now.
Okay.
So you can Google Power Thoughts by Sylvia Hayes, and you'll see it. Okay, I'm not hearing you. Everything is dead. I can't hear you.
Can't hear me neither.
I hear you now.
Okay, I hear you now too.
Okay, yeah.
Okay. Okay.
But everything. I forgot my thought. You can find my book now on Amazon, eBay, Google something. But if you Google it, you'll see all those places. I even saw one spot where they were talking about the book, and it was in German.
Germany.
So
Okay. Well, Google's worldwide, right?
yeah,
So I guess Google will be Google's worldwide. So I guess when Google puts something out there, just like Netflix, Google sell everything. Google sell everything. If it worth if it have content, the content is good, and if the content is like up to a certain standard that Amazon has, then Amazon will put it worldwide. A lot of stuff they put out there. It's like they say with television. If your content is people friendly and people and clean, and if it is worth reading and worth listening to, then they'll put it out there. They'll market it. Congratulations on your worldwide, on your worldwide. How is that? On your worldwide exposure.
yeah, that sounds good to me. Worldwide exposure. Well, thank
Yeah.
you. And
Yeah.
I'm hoping to get it in all the schools. I think all the seniors, especially, I would like for all the seniors in high school to leave with this book. And I would like for college students to have this book because they really need, even though adults have been, just fascinated with the book. People are calling me saying, I've used some of these power thoughts already, and something happened, and I thought about your book, and it's true what you're saying, and all of that kind of stuff. So I'm excited. It's helping people and it's waking people up. And for kids, I mean, it really helped them because I remember what really encouraged me is for the kids to be so receptive for it. I guess I was a bus driver, and one of my things.
That's right. That's right. Wow, I didn't know you was a bus driver. Yes,
Okay, for the audience, I was
okay.
a bus driver for over 10 years, and I went in with that thought. I got the job as a bus driver with the very goal of to do power thoughts. And I told that man in my interview that's what I was going to do. So I went in with that because my goal is to save the world because the youth, is our future. We have to depend on them. And if my life is in their hands, I want it done right. Morally, I want it done right. So that's why I did the power thoughts, and it's really helped them a lot. They got better grades, higher self-esteem. It was really great. They treated each other with decency. On my bus, I didn't have any fights. no, and it was quiet on the bus. Whereas some of the other school buses, it was real loud and noisy. And it's like, how can you do this? But my bus, it was really quiet and they were really respectful. And they respected each other because that was one of the things I didn't tolerate for disrespect for me or for the kids on the bus. And they didn't do that. So it was really good. And I know last year, I believe it was, my husband and I went to an AutoZone. And one of the kids, he said, I remember you. You did the power thoughts. You were the bus driver. And he told me that those power thoughts helped him so much. You know,
Okay.
he was married now and got his own kids, but it helped him. And just to know that, you know, my power
Hey,
thoughts
hey,
helped him.
hey. Let me stop you for a minute. You say he was one of your kids on your bus, right? Okay, he's
Uh-huh.
married now, got his own kid. Watch out, 85-year-old woman.
No, don't even say that. Because I'm already having
Yeah,
problems with that.
yeah. You said he was on my school bus, and I saw him again, and he's married now with kids. I'm like, I got an 85-year-old woman looking like she's 27. Okay,
Look, I am. Look, you saying that, but I got a first cousin who's just a few years older than me.
yeah.
And he got great grandkids. I'm going, what? That made me feel so old.
Why? Why? Why?
Why? Because
Yeah.
we're the same age. He's just a couple years older than me, and he got great grandkids.
That
That means
means
some
that,
people are getting old.
I mean they had rabbits in his family.
Well, that could be
Yeah,
too.
yeah, rabbits in his family. You know how you get that rabbit blood. You don't stop. You got
Yeah,
get one rabbit and get a male rabbit and a female rabbit, put them together. You walk away for a couple of hours and come back. They got 25 children landing on there. So
yeah.
I don't think age has anything to do with that. I think it's just a matter of the person's perspective on how they perceive uh, having children. I think a lot of times you hear people say, "Well, my religion don't allow me to uh, do abortions." And some would say, and some I hear a lot of black men say all the time that I don't believe in abortions. And a lot of black women say I don't believe in it. I wasn't raised that way. So, and a lot of black men, a lot of black women are they have very religious belief about having children. Hell, as a matter of fact, the Supreme Court Justice Amy Barrett, she has 7 children. And her religion doesn't allow her to use contraceptives. Okay, so her
Hmm.
husband has some rabbit blood in him. He just had that rabbit blood. He goes to sleep and wake up. Hey, baby, you ready? She said, yeah, I'm ready. You ready? He said, yeah. So they got two rabbits got together, and they bang bang. They had 7 children. So, but she doesn't. As the Supreme Court justice, she has 7 children. So I think that, yeah. But back on your book though, I think that I mean, you lit up like a light bulb. So, and I think that it has a lot of common sense stuff in it. Okay, a lot
Uh-huh.
of common sense stuff that we pass on to our children as they're growing up. It has a lot of very simple, simplistic, things. Like if you have a problem, we all have problems, but that doesn't mean your world ends because you have a problem. I think your book dealt with a lot of things that was a very, very serious stuff, but yet not so serious, because it's about choices that we make, how and and when we make those choices, we have to suffer the consequences of those choices. And in your book, I saw where you touched on that a little bit, a lot more than a little bit, really, but you touched on it. And I think that was pretty good because a lot of time if you don't tell a person that choices that they make will have an effect on their life, then they don't know. They wonder why that each time they make a decision to do something, why does it keep happening to me? Well, yes, that's good choices, bad choices, and there's choices that we make that are medium choices. And so I think that's what you're doing. You're giving a person in your book, one of the things that I gathered was that you are trying to say to that person, you have choices, and those choices that you have choice between the people you want to be with, hang out with, or you have choice of what you want to do with your life. You have choice in terms of what you if you go out with your friends and everyone's drinking, you have a choice. You're driving the car. Are you going to drink too? You know. So I think that's a lot of times we don't we don't talk to people in terms of choices. If you can go, if you get in an argument with someone, you have a choice. And we a lot of times that's not verbally said to people, especially our children. And if it's
Yeah,
not said to them, it doesn't register to them that they have a choice.
yeah.
I tell all the time, you have a choice. To wash them dishes or not wash them dishes. You have a choice. I'm not. I'm
But
not
then there's
saying.
the consequences of you not doing it.
Right, and and you paint the consequences out to them.
Yeah,
You give them a visual concept of what the consequences look like.
right.
You let them know that these are the dishes and this is you. Now you have a choice. You can wash these dishes or you don't have to wash these dishes. But this is the consequences from that action. Now whether you have any feelings or not, or you are numb to the consequences. But the choice is that if you don't wash these dishes, you're gonna suffer the consequences. If you do wash these dishes, you're gonna suffer the consequences. But either way, the consequence could be positive and negative. But the
Hmm.
choice is yours how what the consequences are. And at the same time, you learn. And what do you learn from washing the dishes? By making the choice to wash the dishes. You learn to be responsible. You learn to be clean. You learn to have clean places in your house. When you go off to college and you're in college and you're in your little dorm with your friends and they ain't cleaning up nothing, you're gonna say, I wasn't raised this way.
Yeah.
That's the choice that you made when you wash those dishes. That follows you for the rest of your life. If you don't wash those dishes, you've been in your dorm with your friends. You come to, hey, y'all mind clean this? No, okay, I ain't gonna clean them either. So I think you're right, and also I think you also painted a pretty good picture and how in terms of what people basically it's like a it's like a PowerPoint. I thought about that and I said, okay, uh, but it's like a composite of ideas that we all strive for in life. We strive to try to live up to. And the only problem is we don't make the choices to do it. And I think that's the basis of what the book is. It talks about a number of things, in terms of situations that as people we get in. It doesn't matter whether you're white, black, blue, or green, what your financial aspirations are, but you have to make that choice first. And I think that's what I get out of that is that even when you are going to get into a confrontation with someone, you have an opportunity. You have to make a choice. Or you can, if they say something that hurts your feelings, you can either respond to them from that same perspective, or you can say, "What the hell is this idiot talking about?" Why are they trying to hurt my feelings? And that's a choice that you make. And
Mhm.
sometimes you have to find use basically what you were saying to me. I think again, not to
Then you have the choice of whether you're gonna let that hurt your feelings or not.
use your mind.
Yeah, 'cause it's like that's their feelings, that's their thing. I don't have to accept that.
Absolutely, and I think that's why I was saying earlier. That's why I think it's important because if you can remember.
Sorry, I don't understand.
Okay, sorry about that, my mistake. I think that we don't. Okay, when I was in college. Okay, I used to teach school. Okay, I did an alternative. Well, actually, I was a student teacher. Okay, at an alternative school, St. Luke's Street Academy. And one of the things that I would always try to explain to the kids that when you make these choices, you make these decisions, it's either gonna make you're gonna mature out of as you come out of this, you're gonna mature. That's two sides of it, right? That's the back side, that's the front side of it. So when you make these choices on the front side, you're gonna look back on it and say, "Oh, I learned something from that." But if you don't make the choice, you're still on the back side. You never get to the front side of anything. So I think that in your book, it kind of gave me I had a couple of flashbacks with something like St. Louis Street Academy. But I think all in all, that's what I got. First thing I got was like about choices. Okay, uh,
Okay.
people have to make choices about the direct. We're all on the road. Okay, we're on the road traveling, but we also all of us live in a bubble. Okay, and so to let people into that bubble, you're taking a chance. You're taking a chance and you're making a choice to let that person into your body, to share with that person. Okay, That was interesting. That's the choice thing. And second thing, and about people. When you're dealing with people, be careful because everyone's not your friend. You know, and when you are out there and you're striving to be the best you can be, remember, what you bring to the table. You know what's it saying? How do you say it? You say you get out what you get when you put into it. Something like that.
Yeah.
I think you had something like
Trying
that.
to remember.
I got it sitting right there. Yeah, on the
Yeah,
table right there.
yeah. I know life is like a boomerang. Whatever you throw out is coming back at you.
Yeah, that's what you get out what you put
That's
into
the
it.
one.
Yeah, yeah.
Oh, okay.
Like a boomerang. If you what you throw out there, it's coming back at you. If
Right,
you get what you put into it. If
right,
you put that out there, you put this into it. If you put everything you believe in into it, you throwing all this out there. Then when it come back at you, that's gonna be good or bad.
right.
And so I think
When
that
you
was
help somebody, somebody gonna help you somewhere down the
yeah,
line. If they don't help you, they're gonna help your children.
the
You're
domino
still
effect.
benefiting from it.
Yeah, the domino effect we call it.
Yes.
And that's what we call the domino effect. One domino touches another domino touches another, another touches domino, and they call it pen. Another concept they use called panning forward. But yeah, that's what I saw there. And I made some notes, but I said my notes were like very good, interesting. I made interesting, sounds good. I know about this, of course. And here again, it's basically it's like you start out making a cake.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, you have all the ingredients. What was that? Anyway, you have all the ingredients. Okay, right
Right.
there. You begin to pour the ingredients in. As you would think about the ingredients, you begin to put something a little bit more into the ingredients. It's like once you put all these ingredients in the cake, you made it. So, and someone said after someone you put the cake in the oven, take it out, and you put all the icing all over. And so people come in and sit down, they have them, they say, eat the cake. They say, you put your foot in this. You say, huh? You put your foot in this. This is good. This is really good. Can I have another piece? Can I have another piece? Yeah, she put her foot in that, didn't she? Yeah. And I think that's about making a cake. You put your heart into it. You know what I mean? When you're making a cake, you put your soul into it. You're not making it for yourself, but you're making it for the people that you love, that you care
Right.
about, and that you want them to feel good about when they eat this cake. You want them to feel good about how it tastes, and when they want some more. So I think that's what I saw in that. You made a cake, and also one thing I also add that I think that mine to the one it's like a cake. You made you put your foot in it. And I think that a lot of time, people are not so interested in when people read. They're not so interested in how the cake tastes, but what ingredients you use to make it taste the way it tastes. You know, when they say you put your foot in it, they're asking the question, what did she put in it to make it taste the way that it tastes?
Yeah.
You know, and so I think that's what a lot of love, a lot of attention, a lot of inspiration, a lot of feelings, a lot of ideas. I think went into that, and I think this, hey, if my word meant anything to this
It
world,
did. It
I
did.
think you
I
made
really
this up.
appreciate it because I did put a lot of love and care into this book. Because I want people to have higher self-esteem. Because a lot of kids they're not really being raised by their parents. They're just being fed by them and putting a roof over their head. And the parents are not taking the time to teach them. Because I've had a couple of kids that say that you talk more to me than my parents do, and they
Mm-hmm.
really appreciate it. So I want them to have that knowledge because there's simple things because people make simple mistakes because they don't know. And the parents do have the obligation to tell them, but they don't because they're so busy. Some of them are just about as old as their kids. So they're either out there partying or working. And
Well, yeah, yeah. Even the grandparents are not as old as the daughters of the kids. These grandparents are like young 32, 25. You know, the daughter 17. She have a child. Grandmother 20. Grandmama's 32. You know, so the
Mhm.
grandmama's just as young as the children. I think you're right in that
Yeah.
perspective.
So they don't, sometimes the parents don't know. So this book is good for the parents as well,
Yeah,
to help them a lot. Because parents make mistakes and they don't want the children to make mistakes. So if you read my book and it will enlighten you, it will help your life and you can help the children's life, and the children can excel. Some
you
of
know,
them have low self-esteem, and this will make them think better about themselves and not depend on somebody else to give them approval. Prove
yeah.
yourself.
I agree with you. I think also to add to what you just said, I think that in terms of parenting, I think that you're right. I think I would say in assumptionally on an assumptive basis, I would say that you're right in the sense that a lot of parents or young parents, and even parents who are grandparents, 32 and whatever, in my research, I've learned that a lot of times they don't know. You know, the word, the common sense stuff that you put in your book, they have heard it, but they don't know it. No one has ever told them about it or ever said anything to them about it or ever taught them how those principles work. What basically what you put out there was ethics, morals, principles, and values. You know, and
Yeah,
ideas about right and wrong, good and bad. And so a lot of people, a lot of all people, are not even taught those principles. You know, they're not even taught those ideas and those concepts. And that's why kids don't excel in school sometimes. You know,
right.
and why kids don't go to college become a doctor or lawyer. But if you take the kid that whose father was a doctor, whose mom was a lawyer, whose father was an accountant, whose mom was a nurse, whatever, they're teaching their kids these principles, these ideas, what you have in your book. They're teaching their kids those things. And so when those kids meet someone that doesn't have those same ideas, they tend to repel that, tend to move away from that. I don't want to be a part of that because my mother, my father, this and that. So I think it makes a lot of sense that, as you said earlier, as you alluded to, people should read your book because it has a lot of stuff in it that deals with principles, morals, ethics, values, and ideas about right and wrong, good and bad. And here again, we know that there's no book out there, quote unquote, for to teach a person how to parent a child or how to parent themselves. But there are, like your book, there are books out there like your book to give them ideas of how to approach the situation, how to deal with the situation. Like even here with Alice, I'm not the greatest dad in the world, but uh, I had sisters and what have you, and I saw my mama deal with my sisters and stuff. But I can't deal with my daughter with my mama dealt with my sister because I'm a man. Okay, and I have a different perspective, and I have certain values, ethics, and morals. But I can teach her my values, my morals, my ethics, my principles, my ideas about right and wrong, good and bad, and even like I said, even share your book with her without letting her know that she's gonna read the book. You see what I'm saying? And so
Yeah.
in that sense, she would she would read the book, and then like I'm a college graduate, so. That's a statistical state. That's a statistical saying that every parent they have children that are prone to go to college as well. Now, the parent, in other words, if let's say take your book for example. Say someone reads your book, when the parent reads your book, they begin to implement those principles, those ideas, and that concept. Then uh, they begin to change their life, change the way they see things, change the way they view things, and change their whole structure and movement toward life. The child sees that, even though the parent don't know the child sees that, and it begins to spin off on the child. So like when I just say covert 19 happened, when you talking, it just blows in the air. Well,
Mhm.
knowledge and aspiration is the same way, And I think that's what your book does. If you read that book more than one time, those ideas will settle in, and they will take root. Because like anything that we do in terms of taking root, we read it one time, we come back and we look at it again and again. We begin to implement those ideas in our life because those ideas tend to have a contrasting value with our own value. It's just that no one has ever said to us that this is the way you're supposed to do this. This is what you're supposed to do when you confront this, or when you're confronting a situation like this. Like I saw a video on YouTube about a couple of months ago where a young lady had a flat tire, and her boyfriend was standing outside. His friend was recording it. He was saying to his friend, they were saying to YouTube that I don't know how to fix no tire. She was saying, but you can't help me jack the car. He said, I don't know nothing about that. You know? But what I saw there was that he didn't have the tools that you had in your book, that you asked. Someone had never taught him that even if you don't know nothing about it, at least help out. You know,
Yeah.
she was trying to jack the car up, and he was talking, I don't know what she's doing. I don't know nothing about no tire. I don't know nothing about this. I said, you my boyfriend. You can't help me. And I said to myself, if that was my daughter, she wouldn't see him no more.
Exactly, because you know what? My daughter's that way because I taught them how to jump off cars. They know my daughter know how to boost the car. She know how to change a flat and all that kind of stuff. So she ran across a guy. I think she needed her car boosted or something. And this guy was gonna help her, and he didn't know how to do it. Oh, she felt so low on him.
Yep.
Like, I couldn't deal with somebody. So she wants somebody who knows just as much, if not more, than her.
Right.
You know? But I try to teach my kids to be independent. You know, if you're gonna drive a car, know how to drive a car, know how to change the oil, how to change the flat, you know, how to boost your car off. I taught my children that. And as a girl, and she was a teenager at that. And, she was up here. You know?
She said, bye, Felicia. Yeah, because I think that you have to have someone compatible, you know, someone that know, not trying to make this. It seems like they know more than you, but have some basic common sense, you know, about
Yes.
things, you know, and have some. I think here again, like I say, you know, I think that your book is a piece of work. Well, here I put it this way: if it wasn't necessary, God wouldn't allow you to put it out there at this time period. Okay.
Okay.
If there wasn't a need for it, I would, you know, because right now we're in the middle of a pandemic, and in the middle of a pandemic, a presidential election that's trying, that one president is trying to take it down the hill, another president trying to take it up the hill, trying to resolve the issue, and we're in the middle of a high level of unemployment. We're in the middle of a lot of people getting sick, you know, and a lot of people dying. So I think that having some basic principles, morals, ethics, and values, and being able to read those things, and when you read those, you say, well, I didn't know that. And see, and like these so-called preachers, right?
Mm-hmm.
They get one person to believe what they say, and then another person believe it, then another person begin to believe, another person begin to believe, and they begin to talk. They got to begin to believe it. They begin to feel like he's telling them the right stuff and doing the right thing. And before you know, he got a whole congregation buying him G5 jets, and buying him big old houses and stuff because they think that he's giving them the truth, you know. But when
Yeah.
something like your book comes along, it makes them question why they don't know this here. Why have not, you know, why I don't know it. I know it, but why have not did it? You know, my mom told me about this, but why have not did it? You know, this is the way I'm being bullied. How do you recognize when you're being bullied? You know, how you know when you're being bullied? When you're with your friend, how do you know these are your friends? You know, so I think it's a necessity. I think that so your book is good.
Thank
It's 8:03.
Yeah.
Now it's time for us to say, see you when I see you.
Yeah. It
Okay.
is. So everybody, this is my book, Power Thoughts. And you can get it Amazon, Lulu.com, eBay. Just Google the book Power Thoughts by Sylvia Hayes. It is worth it. So, and this book is printed by Lulu.com. This show is an Alive and Kicking production.
Thank you
Okay.
for the book.
Huh?
Thank you for the book.
Oh, you're welcome. Yeah.
I'm not gonna tell Reggie you gave.
Function is, huh?
You sent Reggie one?
Yes, I did.
Okay, I wasn't gonna tell him that you sent me. I was gonna say, hey, man, I got a book. I got one sent me a book. I wasn't gonna tell him that you sent me the book because he probably knew. He probably said, well, how'd you get it? I was probably say, well, you know, he said, you ain't saw her.
Well,
How'd
he
you get
hadn't got his yet. I asked him. I said, "Have you got anything from mail from me?" And he said, "No."
it? Okay, he probably got it today then.
Yeah. Well,
Yeah.
that was this afternoon when I asked him. So he gonna
Okay.
check tonight. Let's see.
Okay, okay, but I'm not gonna tell him I take that back. I am gonna tell him. I'm gonna tell him hey, I got my book right now. I read it, man. Have you read it yet? And we could have some conversation about that book.
Oh,
Yeah,
okay.
okay, and yeah, and maybe we can talk about it again. It's a good book,
Oh,
worth reading.
yeah,
And,
it is definitely worth reading. I mean, it's even good for people who's in domestic abuse situations.
yeah,
Yeah,
most definitely, because a lot of times, we talked about the Stockholm syndrome and how
yeah,
people can be in that situation and yet still not want to leave the situation because they think that um, after the abuse, the guy tends to be or the person tends to be loving, caring, and sharing, and then something happens, they're back to that same old mentality. I think you're right. And Stockholm's abusive relationship, that goes both ways, men and women. Because you got these big old women, these little guys, they abuse the little guy. The little guy be saying, I don't know why. I said, hey, Harvey, I'm talking about you. I'm just kidding. But yeah, you're right. I think you're right that it is, well, a number of situations that all people face. I think it's good for that.
yeah.
We're gonna talk about it again. I think I'm gonna text Reggie tonight and let him know that we'll talk about that book, your book, that book, your book, and him and I can talk about it again sometime later on.
Oh, okay then.
Yeah, yeah, I think it's good. On that note,
So we're gonna get off the air right now.
yeah,
So you guys have been watching a lot, not alive and kicking, but good news at prime time. Good news at prime time. And
alive
so,
and kicking production,
huh?
alive and kicking production.
Yes, it is an alive and kicking production. Okay. Well, this is good news at prime time. I'm Sylvia Hayes, and you're watching also John Covington. Until
Hey,
then, we'll see you later. Have a good one.
oh, good night, Sylvia. Good night.